So folks, it is an interesting time to be an American, to say the least. I'm not really sure why there are politicians still out there saying that guns are not effective for self-defense or to keep a tyrannical government in check, because the criminals seem to do a lot of work with guns. Now, let me ask everybody a quick question here. If you're a criminal and you live in a place like California where the gun laws are outrageously bad, are you scared to go do some nefarious crap? Like, are you scared to go rob a store? Are you scared to go rob somebody's house? Probably not, right? Or you're probably less scared than in a place where freedom is allowed more, like a Texas or a Louisiana, or I'm sure there's other ones. I can't really figure them out right now. But one of the places that continuously gets brought up is California. And Governor Newsom has pretty much made it his task to disarm everybody there for some reason. Nobody knows why, and everybody's just kind of confused. You have a state that is the most populated state in America, yet it has the worst gun control imaginable. And I know people say things about California, right? Like, oh, it's just full liberals and all that. But there are a lot of red counties in California. There are a lot of people who love Trump in California. There are a lot of freedom-loving Americans in California. It's not just this Hollywood clusterfuck of stuff. Yet they still have this massive amount of gun control there. And it bit them in the ass the other day. There was a guy who was walking down the street in San Jacinto, and I had to look this up. This is a smaller town outside of LA County. So just near Riverside, not a huge, like an LA type of thing. And this guy decided to just walk down the street and start firing at vehicles.
A man caught on camera firing a gun at random walking down the street. The disturbing act is the reason another man is dead, killed by a bullet while driving by. This all happened in San Jacinto at 7th and State Streets. Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan talks to a witness. New at 5.
Surveillance video showing a man armed with a semi-automatic handgun walking down State Street in San Jacinto, then indiscriminately firing at random cars on the road. After appearing to empty the clip, he tosses it, but the damage was done.
Okay, I'm glad the news is still not updating their words that they're using, and they're still calling magazines clips. Now, I feel like a news station, you'd want to put out the most accurate information as possible. So maybe start with that, you know? Get some respect from gun owners. So let me start with this before I go into how this can be fixed. I understand Governor Newsom's got a big hard on for taking everybody's guns away in California. Do you think you having crazy amount of gun control is going to stop somebody like this? The answer's no. He can still get a gun, not legally. And this whole thing, yeah, the gun was the tool that he used, but he could have walked down the street with a chainsaw. Probably done just the amount of same damage that he could have with a gun. But of course, it's a gun, so we got to have this big old thing and say, oh, we need more gun control because of it. Let me offer a better solution. If somebody uses a gun like this in a situation where they're just shooting at random people, there's no self-defense involved, there's no chance of self-defense involved, this guy's just looking to murder people. What we need to bring back is public death penalties. Put it on the news and say, hey, if you're thinking about doing a mass shooting or some dumb shit like this, we're gonna have a public execution of you. They don't have to be hangings, they don't have to be a guillotine, but make it public. That way it pulls people away from this thought process of, oh, well, I'll just get on TV and shoot a bunch of people. Then the American justice system has my back and I'll sit in jail for 2 years before I get a trial. And then after the trial, I'll wait on death row for, I don't know, 20 years. And then finally, I'll get a nice big ass meal before I go to sleep. Does that sound like justice, or does that sound like we're all being soft about it?
Several vehicles struck by gunfire, along with 2 people. One of them, 42-year-old Victor Leon, was killed.
It's so sad, you know, very sad.
Enrique Torres owns E&E Tires on State Street. It was his surveillance cameras that picked up this video of the suspect early Monday morning. He says they heard at least 30 shots.
In the back, there were like 5 or 6 people working, you know. I mean, I was afraid that he might probably get inside my business and start shooting at people, because he just started shooting just like that. Boom. You know, 2 cars, 2 windows, 2 doors.
Just moments before the shooting in front of the car wash, the suspect had walked north on State Street, coming from a strip mall about half a block south, where surveillance video inside a market picked him up too. That video showing the suspect walking into El Toro Market, workers describing him as nervous and sweaty, eventually walking up to a cashier and asking her to buy a shot of liquor, but he only had $1. So he leaves, moments later pulling out a gun and opening fire. The suspect, identified as 39-year-old.
If you were willing to do this to other people, then you should get the most heinous penalty possible. That's the only way this stuff is going to stop. You going on the news and having Governor Newsom go up there and say, well, because of the incident where the man fired at cars, we've got to increase gun control. No, what you should be going up there and saying is, one, we're going to execute this guy quickly. Two, we're going to empower more citizens to take someone like this out. I mean, this guy's just walking down the street. If this would have happened in any state where there is more freedom, one of those vehicles would have had a gun in there. Somebody would have took the dude's head off. But no, the guy just finishes and gets arrested. It's just really mind-boggling. And I think the problem is that us as a country, we've gotten too complicated and too big. If we kind of dumb this down back to when there were Indian tribes all over America, do you think if some animal came in and just started slaughtering all their people, they would just sit back and say, you know what? We need animal control. We got to set up a fence around our place. Oh, well, what happens if they jump the fence? Oh, well, then we've got to build another fence, make it bigger and stronger. All right, well, what if they dig a hole under the fence? Oh, well, we've got to put concrete under the fence so they can't dig a hole. How about maybe arming yourself and protecting your people? I mean, honestly, I feel bad for the people who live in California. If I saw this on the news in a town where I'm from, I would be pissed because your families live there. Your kids go to school there. Yet, you pretty much can't shoot back in California because they're definitely going to charge you, and they're going to charge you with something woke. I mean, we're the cops. I think one other thing that should be added is if you were a governor or someone who is actively creating more gun control and something like this happens when it could have been stopped by a good guy with a gun, you should also be held liable. I don't know. I feel like we're desensitized to all this stuff. We just see it and think, okay, well, it's just another one. Okay, more gun control. Okay, whatever. It's not wrong to want to carry a gun and defend yourself. I don't care where you live either. All these administrative laws like, oh, if we catch you carrying, you're going to jail. Fuck you. With this stuff going on, you expect people to walk out in public or go to a grocery store or expect to walk into a park with their kids and not be armed? Tell me that. Seriously. Someone try to tell me that. It is outrageous.